Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name's Tori, and you're listening to the Red Leaf Retrocast podcast. Today, I'm doing the intro for once, so forgive me because this is probably going to be very bad. So yeah, we have with us today the usual people of Hickey and JD. How are you guys?
Hello. I'm fine. I just had lunch a while ago. I ate shark, and it was very delicious. Now I'm recording a podcast.
Hooray, I'm here. I made it. I wish I was in better health.
Don't worry, guys. But we're not alone. We have another guy. We have a guest with us today. How about you introduce yourself?
I'm Brains from the Trash Pandas Watch Anime Podcast.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're more people this time.
Yeah.
You know, you love it when we have guests on.
Guests are fun. I like Brains. Brains, thank you for being here. You're a nice guy.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. I like being here.
I like being here sometimes.
I wish
No,
we
I
could...
most certainly do. I just realized I couldn't find something I thought I had in my pockets.
I wish we could sound more happy and all, but JD's just dying in his chair and shit like that.
JD's dying. I'm pretty much coming off of not exactly a cold, but I was coughing a lot yesterday, so
Yeah, me too.
my throat isn't the best.
I have a coughing... I just started coughing a lot yesterday as well. It was bad.
Oh my god, the virus
But
is spreading.
I'm good today.
Nobody, listen. Mysterious cough up blood disease is a thing that happens in anime, and I guess sometimes happens to anime fans.
It does. I just wish this wasn't connected through podcast, because it seemed like when one person on this podcast gets sick, everyone does.
Which is weird because we're all in different parts of the earth.
Yeah.
It's the Wired, guys. It's the Wired.
It's the new T virus.
Yeah, of course, it's the Wired. Where's the fucking
you
huge
don't seem
naked
to
lane in
understand.
the sky? I don't see that.
I do have good news.
Good news.
During my birthday week, which was last week, I won 3 bowling tournaments, and I qualified for the United States Bowling Nationals for the first time in many, many years. So,
Congratulations.
Ray, I will be going to
Congratulations, JD.
Vegas as a professional.
Nice.
That is good news.
Yeah, it was a good little. Yeah, on my birthday, I did a tournament that people surprised me for entry, and I almost pulled a perfect game, and I won the whole pot. So, hooray! I did a thing.
Yay.
And you're going to Vegas, is what you're saying.
I am going to
What you're
Vegas.
saying.
Yeah.
Well, what if I told you that my coworkers are constantly trying to convince me, now that they're all single, to fly out with them randomly on a weekend to Vegas?
Well, I would say mark your calendar for June 25th.
That might be doable. I'm supposed to take time off for my birthday around then anyway, so... Although I have to go to Illinois, which is even more desolate than Iowa.
I'm sorry?
Unless you count Chicago.
Plans being made live. That's why you listen. But anyways, we have an interesting program today. We have obviously more of my movie quest, because I seem to have something to talk about every time, and we also have a new manga checkout by JD and Hickey of 7 Seeds. Before we'll talk a little bit about Clamp, as was suggested by Andrew from Recovery of an Anime Junkie. And
Of course it
after
was.
That, we'll review. After that, we will review Space Adventure Cobra.
Damn right. Love that guy.
Strap yourself in.
Oh my god, I love that anime so much. Like,
Strap yourself in for some 80s awesomeness.
Yep.
like there are problems with that anime, but goddamn, I love that
No.
anime.
There's
Really?
nothing wrong with Space
I-
Cobra. You take that back.
Yeah, I didn't realize the problems. No way.
No way. It's not
There's
like
no problem.
It's not like something you take from the past could possibly have problems because we progressed in the future.
Yeah, I mean, they bettering the fucking working conditions of all those naked women. That would be fine for me. But we talk about that later.
Nah. Yes, we will talk about all these things
Equal
later.
opportunity
But
skin
for now,
to see.
That is true.
Yep. But before we jumpstart on the last topic at the start of the podcast, I'm just
Right.
going to jump into my movie quest. And I've watched quite a lot of movies this time, actually. Like, this time, I like to watch movies as often as possible. I've been getting really into my movie quest, and I'm stalling for time because I forgot to do something. So, what I've essentially been doing is just watch a movie every day I have time, and I have had a lot of time, so I have watched a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 movies since the last podcast. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about all 12 of them. The movies that I did watch, however, was Whisper of the Heart, Memories, Lupin the Third, Kutabare Nostradamus, Marmalade Boy, Lupin the Third, Harimau no Saiho, Wo Oe, Armitage 3, Polymatrix, Lupin the Third, Dead or Alive, X 1999, Lupin the Third, Twilight Gemini no Himitsu, Ihato Genso Kenji no Haru, Lupin the Third, Walther P38, and Spriggan.
You have
And the two movies that
You have a lot of good movies in that list.
I have a lot of movies in that list in general, yes. No, this was really just an excuse for me. I didn't watch a whole lot of anime movies before, so this was just an excuse for me to knock out a whole bunch of movies that I wanted to watch.
What did you think of the Lupin movie, Gemini? Because that's one of my favorites.
Let's see here. The Gemini. Twilight. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Personally, out of the ones that I watched so far, I'd have to say I prefer Walther P38.
Ooh.
Just a little bit of a nice movie, but yeah,
Lupin
was good.
Wall 338. I'll look it up while you're talking.
That's fine. So yeah, the two movies that I will be talking about are, like I said, it's let's see here. It's Memories and Ihato Genso Kenji no Haru. So, Memories is a movie produced by Studio Madhouse and Studio 4C, and it's essentially like 3 parts or 3 different short movies put together. Not put together, but like they're 3 different short movies. And summary from Anime Planet is: this is a set of 3 fantastic stories. Well, this set of 3 fantastic stories will take you from the haunting delusion of a space explorer, haunting delusions of a space explorer, to a biochemical threat with the power to wipe out all of Tokyo, and finally to a day in the life of a young boy who lives in a world ruled by cannons. These stories will capture you with their intriguing storylines and awe-inspiring artwork. So, yeah, basically the 3 are Magnetic Rose, Cannon Fodder, and Stinkball.
Fuck yeah.
Magnetic Rose is the first one, and probably the most interesting one out of the 3, in my opinion, at least in terms of story. It's essentially these, what would you even call them? Debris collectors?
Sure.
Salvagers, I'd call them. Space
Junkers.
salvagers.
They're
Yeah.
junkers.
Yeah.
Junkers, yeah.
They're junkers. They're junkers in space. And they're essentially, they get a distress signal and they go to help out. And they end up through this kind of eerie place where they go through the memories of this opera singer, or former opera
Evil
singer.
opera singer,
So,
the worst of all.
Yep, definitely is. It was a very interesting piece for me. I really like it. It's not often that I think anime is. I don't think anime in general is very good at capturing like that eerie feeling of just you don't know what's going on. But for me, Magnetic Rose did that pretty well. I was pretty captured by it, and I enjoyed it. Have any of you guys seen Memories?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think of Magnetic Rose?
Oh yeah. I fucking love Magnetic Rose.
Okay.
It maintains this like eerie alien-like vibe from start to finish. You know what I mean? When the people first get to their distress signal and they get on the ship and you don't know what's happening, then they slowly start getting picked off by the evil entity. Like it was, it just gave me that feeling from start to finish. I love Memories. I love Magnetic Rose, specifically a lot, and it's one of the better horror anime out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, so Magnetic Rose is by like my favorite director, and so like a lot of times people will ask me, okay, well, who's the best anime director, and I have a different answer for that.
Osamu Dezaki.
They ask me my favorite one. My favorite one is by far Satoshi Kon, and he did Magnetic Rose, and Magnetic Rose is, and I definitely feel like that vibe you're talking about, like from the original Alien. Like if you've seen the original Alien, what made that movie work so well is that you didn't see necessarily the alien till like towards the end, right? You got glimpses and stuff like that, and it was really good about building suspense, and I think that's what Magnetic Rose does amazingly. The characters in that movie are so well fleshed out for the short amount of time you're with them.
Yeah, I would agree.
You learn so much about their personality and everything that it's bananas. And if you guys have never seen a Satoshi Kon work, you know, Paprika, Perfect Blue, Paranoia Agent, you know, so many things that he's done. He unfortunately was taken from us too soon, but Magnetic Rose, I think, is probably one of his standouts. I mean, I think everything he did was really a standout. And
yeah.
Magnetic Rose just it's one of the few times anime did horror right, and I think the reason that is because if you look at the catalog of Satoshi Kon's works, like that's what he did, is he played with your perception. It was his big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is definitely like one of the standouts with him. It's just how, and especially like how he manages to convey information, because like you can notice it with a lot of things. It feels like a lot of shows and a lot of movies when they try to give you something, it's like you have stories and characters, and it feels like for one to be fleshed out, the other one has to pause. So Satoshi Kon is really good at mixing both of them so that they happen at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't have to pause the story to flesh out the characters.
We have a whole podcast on Satoshi Kon, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's just go back and remembering that podcast. Just like Satoshi Kon, it's unfortunate that he died so early, because just seeing the potential when you watch a movie he did is just like, I need more of this, but unfortunately, as everything that is good in life, it's short.
Well, and I think he's in like the top directors of all time, right? So like Mamoru Hosoda does things with relationships. Hayao Miyazaki does things with man versus nature, right? And those are kind of their calling cards. And Takahata's is kind of like peace and love and anti-war, right? Like they do these interesting stories, but I think what Satoshi Kon did, and the only reason I can't say greatest anime director, is just because he didn't have the time to fully flesh out his calling card. What he did was just so phenomenal in the way that he kind of melded his stories together. And like the one thing I can just always say from his works is like, you never know what is real in what he does. What is real in the world that he has set up. And even in Magnetic Rose, is it a ghost, or is it a machine, or is it a combination, or is it something, is it in their heads? You know, he gives you so many options as to how it's happening that you don't really care how or why. You just care about the journey that you're on.
Yep. Yeah, that mix of surrealism and realism is just insane. But let's move on from Magnetic Rose, and the second one that come up is one titled Stink Bomb. So immediately there's a bit of a kind of, change in mood, I would say, because the thing you're introduced to right after this bit of nice horror is what I could best describe as comedy. It's about this guy working at this medical facility, and he's got a cold, so he gets a shot, and then he doesn't get over it, and he's tried everything, and he doesn't know what to do. So he takes this medicine that he thinks, or what he thinks is medicine in development, and just decide, why not? They said that it works. I'll just take it and lay down for a while, and then when he wakes up, everyone's... I assume they would be dead. They think they say they're passed out, but they look pretty dead to me. And yeah, he doesn't understand what's going on. So basically, he phones in that something's wrong, and he's told to bring the sample to them, and like to the leaders of the whole thing, and before the police gets there and whatnot. So he does, and stinks up the entire city and kills a bunch. It's weird. It's very, very weird. And easily my least favorite out of the three. I don't particularly... I almost want to know what the thought process behind this was. Like, where... I don't even know. Like, it was strange.
It's
Yeah.
definitely strange. So, like, it was directed by the same guy that did Darker Than Black, Tensei Okamura. And if you've ever seen Darker Than Black, at least the first one, right? Because I think that's the only one he did direct.
Okay.
Like the way he set up powers in that anime is very, very unique and almost comical, right? Like there's a individual he has to smoke, like chain smoke, after he uses his abilities, right?
Yeah, there's
Like,
always a drawback, except the main character, because he's the main character.
Well, you find out he does have a drawback, but you don't find that out till like the end.
I
Kind
guess.
Drawback is he has to eat food. Oh, the pain, the horror.
But I think that probably is rooted there. Some of it might have to do with the fact that Katsuhiro Otomo was behind the other two films and memories. And he's done a fair amount of odd stuff. Like, his most famous work, of course, is Akira, right? So
Yeah, no one's ever heard of that, don't worry.
no one's ever heard of Akira.
The most obscure movie.
But if you watch the Akira movie, if you read some of the Akira manga, you can see a lot of the fact that, or not a lot of the fact, but a lot of his writing style is just this very odd, just unique kind of satirical almost style. Because from like even when you watch like Akira and kind of read the manga of that, you can almost tell he doesn't take his characters 100% seriously. And
That's certainly true in this one.
Yeah.
And I think everything in Memories is worth seeing, but I think probably Stink Bomb's probably the weakest.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Stink Bomb reminds me of something I honestly had in my head, and now I can't remember what it was reminded me of, and I'm so mad at myself.
Must be very good then.
I can't. Oh, you know what? Got it back. It reminds me of the Satoshi Kon super bed thing he was behind.
Oh, Rojin C. Yeah.
Rujin Zed.
Rojin C.
That's what Stink Bomb reminds me of. It's just goofy weirdness with this thing that's over the top.
I could guess, but even still, I would probably say I prefer Rojin C to Stink
I
Bomb.
would agree. Nothing's better than a super bed. We already decided that.
Sure. Whatever you say. But yeah, no. Stink Bomb is the weakest one out of the three. And the last one is Cannon Fodder, which is probably, it is definitely the most stylistic one out of
Very
all three of them.
stylistic.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
From just like watching it, the cinematographer nerd in me fucking love it. Absolutely. God damn it. that movie is good. It's good to look at. Story-wise, it's essentially about this family who essentially work on firing cannons for this weird, like, domed city. And they're fighting their enemy. They're working hard to fight their enemy in terrible conditions and whatnot. Social commentary, yada yada.
Yada.
So, yeah, and the enemy they're firing at is obviously no one. There is no enemy. They're just firing for the sake of firing, but no one knows that. So they keep working hard every day to fire that cannon for absolutely no reason. So yeah, but to me, the most spectacular thing about that is just the cinematography. I fucking love the use of that, like, fixed camera throughout the entire thing, where everything seamlessly fucking transitions into each other. I love
Pretty
that.
cool.
It's so nice to watch.
Well,
so yeah, I got kind of caught in that the entire time.
Here's a question
like,
for you, Tori.
I'm just looking at this and I'm like,
Here's a question for you. After going through Magnetic Rose and then getting the weirdness that was Stink Bomb, by the time you got to Cannon Fodder and as that was going on, did you find yourself super bored?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
That's how I felt when I was watching it. I was wondering if you felt similarly.
No, it starts out sadly it starts out with the best, which is not ideal.
It isn't ideal.
But it starts out with the best, and then it takes a hard nosedive into Stink Bomb, and then it fixes itself up again with Cannon Fodder. I did like Cannon Fodder. So
I mean,
but yeah,
Cannon Fodder's really good. It's interesting because it's, you know, you're actually getting to see Otomo actually you know, direct something that he wrote. And I think that's why you get some of, like, the, you know, the great scenes that you do in that, because I honestly can't think of anything else that I've ever seen Otomo direct, actually. And so I kind of wonder if that's just because, like, from his background of being a mangaka, you know, if that's why you get such an interesting stylistic art, like, piece of art with it, and then this very unique cinematography with it. And I wonder if that's kind of blended from the fact that sometimes when you're doing manga, or in comic books too, in the States and elsewhere, like, you kind of have a fixed viewpoint for a lot of what you're doing. So what happens when you just take that fixed viewpoint and then turn it into a visual medium? And I think what Cannon Fodder is a really good example of how you can make that work. And a lot of times we see people try that and it does not work at all, because it feels stunted and stilted, and, like, it doesn't feel like it has a flow, but this does.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely, like, it's hard to do. It is very hard to master, which is why it's just whenever you see something like this that just nails that, like, fixed camera so well, it's just a pleasure to watch.
And I liken that movie a lot to, like, there's a scene in True Detective, which is a TV series in the States, where they do this one really long cut where they just kind of follow them through this fight in that show. They follow them through a gunfight, and I kind of link it to something kind of like that, right? Like how well that works. That camera only moves to follow them. It doesn't, like, shift angles or anything. It just keeps going as the actors do their thing. And I mean, that's an incredible, long cut that is done in True Detective. I think it's in season 1. It is in season 1, because season 2 was not as good, but, and I think that's, you can kind of see that as, like, a live action equivalent. If you've seen True Detective, you'll kind of know, in that particular scene, you'll kind of know what we're talking about, like how it can work. And he just makes it work.
Yeah. There's also a, I don't remember the song. I know there's a, music video, a Kanye West music video that's the same It's like, fixed camera, just constantly panning to the side, and as stuff is happening from it's like essentially shot as just one take,
Right.
even though it's clearly not. So there are ways you can experience this, and I would recommend doing it. Like it's interesting to see when they pull it off.
Alrighty, move it. Going just real quick, the Lupin movie you mentioned.
Yep.
Walter P-38. It's also called Island of Assassins.
Yeah, because of the... Yeah.
It, is it anything like how Lupin Part 5 goes down? With everyone against him and trying to kill him?
Not exactly. It's just real quick. It's about the story of of Lupin's gun, the Walther P.
So is it like the Man with the Golden Gun, James Bond movie?
Kinda. It's the the equivalent, the silver Walther P-38, the original Walther P-38, and in order to kind of tackle his past, he goes to this island of secret assassins and that are essentially influencing the world's politics and whatnot. And
cool.
Yeah. So he solves the mystery there. It was fine. It was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, enough about that.
Yeah, I mean,
let's move on to the second video.
It has a great
sure.
That Lupin movie is pretty freaking great. Although I think most Lupin stuff's pretty freaking great.
I would agree.
Well, us here at the Red Leaf Retrocast,
I find myself disliking anything Lupin related. But yeah. So the second movie I want to talk about, although technically this would be the fourth.
Sure.
The second movie I want to talk about is a movie called Ihatov Genso Kenji no Haru, and it's by Group TAC and Satelight. And the synopsis from Anime Planet is: his father thinks he's a failure, his students think he's eccentric yet magnificent, and the impoverished farmers of his town think he's an insufferably idealistic spoiled rich boy. Before renowned Showa-era poet and author Kenji Miyazawa became famous, he lived in a small town struggling with personal philosophies that no one around him understands, and writing novels without resorting to selling out.
So it's also called Springing Chaos.
Yeah, that it is. Obviously, this is kind of a movie made in memory of Kenji Miyazawa, a great Japanese poet, and it is very strange. In the sense that, like, for example, every character kind of are cats, and yeah, like it takes these weird concepts to portray people as like everything is eerily similar to how it would be how society is to us, how things look to us, but it is kind of given to us in a different light, like how in this case there are no humans, rather everyone is a cat or a dog or
sounds like
else.
Animal Farm.
Everyone's
in
an
a way.
animal essentially. Yeah, and essentially that is in reference to Kenji Miyazawa, because he wrote like that. Like he takes things that we know and then kind of twists it in weird ways that can seem a little bit hard to understand, which is something that this movie likes to tackle. That when he tries to write, because he has Kenji has a real desire to write, that's what he wants to do. But when he actually tries it out, when he tries to sell his books, when he tries to show it to other people, everyone reads it and goes, "This makes no sense. I don't understand."
Well, does the movie make sense?
Yes, because it's essentially his life. It's not hard to comprehend. It's what he went through. No one understands him, and it's kind of like his rationale behind it. Like when people tackle it, no one's interested in his books because they don't make sense. And he says, "Well, that's because I'm trying to deal with kind of difficult concepts." And when he's like trying to justify it, it's like he comes to this realization that like it doesn't even make sense to him. He doesn't understand what he's trying to achieve. So it's But yeah, it parallels both his stories as well as his life, his relationship with his parents, and all the way up until he eventually moved out to join the quote-unquote people that he often looked upon, because he comes from a fairly decent enough family, fairly rich family, and he decided to kind of follow in the footsteps of the farmers, the people that are struggling for bare minimum. So he decided to become a farmer, where he eventually died. So basically, it's an ode to Kenji Miyazawa's stories as well as paralleling his life. And yeah, I actually really like this. It was a nice, simple movie with some weird concepts and a bit of eerie imagery every once in a while. But it was a nice little tribute to Kenji Miyazawa.
Yeah, I'm looking at screenshots right now, and the background art looks pretty wild and wicked with the imagery. Yeah. And the a lot of the character art reminds me a lot of Night on the Galactic Railroad, which was also a movie of all cats.
Yeah, and that is also based on a Kenji Miyazawa.
Oh, well, there you go. That would make sense. Okay.
Yep. he really likes that animal depiction of people.
Cool. I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, I'm interested to check this out too, because it's done by Shoji Kawamori. And
the Macross Plus guy, right?
Macross everything guy. But and also like a bunch of other stuff that's what did he do? I think it was Eureka 7, I think was the one he did. Or no, was it Aquarion?
Angsty
I
Mech.
think he had a hand in both, but I just can't remember which one he created. I think it was Aquarion is the one he created. No, yeah, because Eureka 7, he just did the mechanical design, and so I'm definitely interested because, while I don't think he always produces like the best works, I think like typically the things that he produces have been kind of hit or miss for most people. I think Macross is probably his by far standout thing he did. With other mecha directors, we can point out like Tomino and stuff like that. We can point out like a bunch of different works that they did that were interesting, right? That weren't necessarily Gundam related. But like Shoji Kawamori, while his stuff's interesting, if I have to be honest, it's not always good. And
yeah, and I could say the exact same thing it is. I don't think this is something that everyone's going to enjoy, mostly because first of all, if you are unfamiliar with the authors or with the Kenji Miyazawa in this case, it seems odd for the sake of being odd, right? Because if you don't know what Miyazawa did, like what type of stories he told, this is gonna just seem like kind of weird.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Go through family stuff,
yeah.
Okay, sure.
No, I had to watch Night of the Galactic Railroad twice to fully comprehend the scope of what was happening. So, I'm gonna have to check out Springing Chaos.
And this is literally just more of that. This is literally just somebody going like, I wanna explore the great vastness of everything. How are you gonna go about doing that? I don't know. I'll get there somewhere, and obviously
I'll go to Antarctica.
The kind of funny and kind of depressing twist is that was kind of what he wanted. He wanted to explore pretty much everything. And what happened? Well, he died as a farmer. So
what? Replace
explore anything.
I got it. Replace the cats with moe girls, and they need to, instead of not knowing where they're going to Antarctica. No. I think that concept could be a hit. Call me crazy.
Yeah, that is true. That might be anime of the year.
Yeah, but I might change that just a little bit to make it even more anime of the year. Make them moe cat girls.
Oh,
and then everybody's happy.
That is a good one. Yeah, no, I'm not interested in the movie, but I might check out Kenji Miyazawa works. Because I need something to read that is not anime related. And it's not either anime related or law related. So, I still need to get my Lolita book back from my friend. But, of course I might just buy a book of Kenji Miyazawa and read it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about things. I got interested in these, like a lot of these older poets and Japanese
like
writers through like
a lot of
what's that show called? Holy shit!
the Rakugo one.
No, not that one.
Because the Showa era in Japan looks very interesting. You know, we have the beginning of, not the beginning, like the middle of the Second World War until 1970 something is the Showa era, I believe, and it's a very interesting, place in Japan. Very interesting time in Japan with the reconstruction of Japan and how that spanned all the creations and creativity behind those kind of works. So I'm very interested in the Showa era. So I might just take a look at.
Yeah, the show that got me interested was Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh yes, there's a lot.
The characters are based on these.
Yeah,
so not even it's
not even Japanese authors as well. It's every author.
It's everyone. Yes, but the main characters are mostly Japanese authors. So it's like I remember just sitting down watching that, and then it's like between episodes I would just go and like look up all sorts of shit about the authors, and I ended up enjoying that show probably way more than a lot of people did because of that.
I mean, I'm a history nerd, so like even I like Strike Witches, and that's a contradiction, but I think it's a little bit disrespectful with transforming those historical figures into anime moe girls. It's a lot of conflict in my heart, so let's just not go there.
It's entertaining. Oh yeah. But that was the final movie that I wanted to talk about. So, shall we move on then?
Jawohl.
I don't know what that means.
That means okay.
Okay.
All right, Hickey. What's our manhwa checkout today?
All right. There's the third checkout we're doing. Is over the manga called Seven Seeds by Yumi Tamura, released in October 2001 and just ended recently in 2017, spanning 35 volumes. It's apparently one of JD's favorite manga.
Surprisingly enough, yes.
Surprisingly? Well, I mean, it is surprisingly because it is hardcore shoujo.
It is shoujo as fuck.
It is as shoujo as you can get, except the giant insects and shit.
What is it, like volume? I think it's so we're only talking about the first couple volumes. The objective here is to maybe discover things we didn't know we liked, or things people aren't familiar with, hence why we also dive into manhwas and webtoons.
Yeah, and the Seven Seeds, I swear to God, I thought that had an anime already, but it doesn't. But it will have one this year or next year.
That's right.
And it will receive the same treatment as Gegege no Kitaro. New graphics, like everything new. It doesn't look shoujo at all anymore. And might be interesting.
Yeah, they definitely turned down the how shoujo the characters look. So
I mean,
well, what is it? Netflix
I'm conflicted.
Is doing that one, right?
Netflix and Studio Gonzo, which so it's like you say Netflix and you go, okay, I'm on board, and then you go Gonzo and you go, okay, not so much.
That hurts.
Could be worse.
Remember Blade and Soul?
Jeez. So
no, those are the type of things I try to forget. Okay.
What is this about?
The summary from Anime Planet, with a few add-ons. Natsu, Arashi, and a few dozen other had gone to bed like any other night, and when they woke up, they were somewhere else. They were in a new post-apocalyptic future with mutated plants and animals. And their death lies in every corner they turn, and basically when discussing what happened, they kind of get in this agreement that scientists predict that some kind of fallout would happen, and in this case, Anime Planet summary says it was a meteorite strike. Meteorite. English and Latin words mixing. Would strike Earth, and so they came up with a salvation plan to society and to humankind as a whole, and it's up there with one of the most dumb fictional ideas to save mankind of all time, together with getting Gandalf to a position of power and building the space colonies. They would cryogenically freeze 5 teams of young adults and have them start society again when life was sustainable in the planet. All the teams were composed of 7 people, the 7 seeds, and they would just go around surviving and, trying to build society again. The problem is, as always happened with anime, shit doesn't go as planned.
Never does.
Never does.
I've gotta ask, why 7 though?
Well,
probably
than
probably say 7 number of perfection, Bible shit like that, because that's anime. Japanese people
All I
really
can think
like
of-
doing that kind of thing as well.
I know.
well,
all I can think of is just one person just standing to the side when the other ones are remaking society, going like,
what
"Man,
makes
Yeah, the problem is everything wants to kill them. From the plants to the insects to the fucking air.
who cares about that? We have more important things to discuss here."
yeah.
Okay.
That
Like, who
sounds.
doesn't
Wait,
get
wait,
laid?
wait. Are you sure it's not set in Australia?
Could be.
No, because there's water. So, no.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yes.
Wait, there's water in Australia. That's where the crocodiles
No,
live.
it's a myth.
That's a myth. Crocodiles
it's a
don't
myth.
need water. What the fuck are you talking about? No. Just
Everyone knows Australia. Doesn't
So
exist
what
anymore.
what I really
one of friends
enjoyed.
taught me crocodiles don't need water. They live in the jungles.
What I really enjoyed about the first couple volumes was setting up the world and the constant state of dread. And like you said, Hickey, how everything's out to fucking kill you. And it's like, it doesn't beat around the bush at all. And for something as shoujo as this was, everything was coming across as pretty surprising. I mean, at one point, a giant mutated praying mantis, like, does full-on alien facehugger shit to the military guy with him. I was like, oh my god! Like, it sticks him
Yeah,
with
there's
his
some-
with his thorax or
Yeah, the ending of Volume 2 with the zombie larva and the guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like
Yeah.
it is a weird one, because if you look at the covers, the art improved. The first volumes,
Vastly, yeah.
they look like they were made as the most shoujo style possible using a number 2 pencil. It looks bad. The characters look bad. The ambient and environment, it looks fine, but the characters look very bad, and they are the most shoujo stereotypes in a post-apocalyptic world. You wake up with this girl, and she's the most useless character to ever exist. She just cries. You have Arashi, which is the Ikemen, the hot guy, and you have the other hot guy, which is a bully, and you have the other chick, which is just like this protector. So like the guy is like, oh, we are in a post-apocalyptic world. Everything wants to kill us. What am I supposed to do? Oh, I know. I'm gonna bully that girl because I'm the bully guy. I don't like shoujo. Let's put it like that. I never liked shoujo, but reading something as shoujo as 7 Seed is kind of refreshing. From although it's old, it's kind of refreshing because anime is the perfect breed between capitalism and Darwin evolution laws.
Sure.
If you don't sell, you're done. And at some point, between 2005 and 2008, these shoujo aesthetics stopped selling. And same thing with shonen, they just stopped selling. You don't see like, oh, this is shoujo aesthetic or shonen aesthetic anymore. Anime and manga and light novels, they are all coming together to this same and standardized kind of aesthetic and character designing. You still have some that are more shoujo-like, what is the 3rd season is coming out about the Carta one. I forgot the name. Anyway, you
okay.
have Santia Show, you have that anime, I forgot the name. But
So-
you still...
Chihaya Furu.
Go on.
Yeah, Chihaya Furu.
Oh,
It's still
okay.
very shoujo-like, but it's not that old shoujo, you know, characteristics to it, to the characters, the potato faces and things like that.
Sure.
So seeing that reminds you that anime is evolving, and sometimes it loses a lot of the things that made it special from time to time, and that is one thing you get with Seven Seeds. At least it's the best thing I got, since I don't like shoujo at all. And the action scenes are very interesting, and the situations are also very interesting. Those post-apocalyptic planets where you have, you know, the whole new world, they're very rare. In 2001 to 2004 in manga, they weren't. But in anime, and especially nowadays, it's very rare. You don't have post-apocalyptic worlds anymore, especially new worlds, because you can just make an isekai.
You're right. Yeah. This could even come across as an isekai at first, because they don't. It does a really good
They
job.
don't know what is
of-
going on, yeah.
Yeah, it does a really good job of telling you or hinting at you everything and giving you information slowly in a good show don't tell kind of way, because there's each group is assigned like this specially trained military leader, and I was really wondering why the military leader like wouldn't just come out and say, shit be fucked, you gotta have sex and do the earth.
And do the earth.
So I really like all the elements, the reasoning behind the world and why all these decisions were made. To me, it makes sense even from, say, a geological perspective on how like they're slowly discovering where they are, how the planet's changed, and just like the reader, we just don't know, and which is really nice and refreshing. Brains, have you seen Escaflowne?
Of course I have.
Okay.
I love Shoji Kawamori.
So the art style and the main characters are very similar between Seven Seeds.
I would disagree with that.
You would disagree?
Oh,
Really?
yeah,
Why? Why is that?
I believe it's way closer to the like late 90s reverse harem manga. It's way closer to that. The elongated chins to man, the large shoulders and things like that. The Scaflone, you have like the huge noses and shit like that. It's another aesthetic. It's not shoujo at all. It's more of a product of its own kind, with the round faces while retaining the long noses. It was a weird
I
time
guess if you break it
in
down
anime.
like that, yeah, you're right.
But like when you see there's still a lot of manga nowadays. There's still uses that shoujo aesthetic and shoujo characters. Usually they are reverse harems you never heard about, and yaoi. So like it's very reminiscent of the 90s shoujo. Let me think about. The problem is I can only think about 2000 shoujo, and they are already changing. It's already in the middle of the metamorphosis to the standardized character design we have nowadays.
So, we both you ended up liking the first two volumes, correct?
To a story viewpoint, aside the point I already made,
Right.
it's the most dumbest. It's the dumbest plan. One of the dumbest plans ever created to save mankind.
Oh, you're harsh.
Oh, come on, really? Oh, let's just put young people. Let's just freeze a bunch of young people, and they would just wake up and have sex because that's what young people do.
Well,
Yes.
no. No,
true?
they
That is true.
there is a reason why. Well, I can't actually.
Is there a
You can
reason
actually
they
say.
didn't inform them what they were going into? Because like that's from like what you guys have said so far. That's what bothers me the most.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically, the families kind of sold them out
Sort of.
The government paid the families to sell their kids to this program. At least at the beginning, that's what they say. The girl who was trained in the main group, the group of the main character, said, which is I believe it. I don't think it's a good.
So here's the thing. I think I'm definitely comfortable with saying this. Because I also had a similar problem. And then at the beginning of the third volume, and this is as far as we'll get into the story and everything, it is revealed that this particular group that we're following in the story was a form of random selection. Okay? This group was particularly random. The other groups that everyone else is... in as the Seven Seeds, they're all chosen for their skills, be it engineering, architecture, athleticism, superior gene pool, and the government researched all the other groups.
Gene pool.
Well, yeah,
I love those things.
So
yeah, I know.
In that
it's
sense,
Japan in the 90s.
Yeah, in that sense, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Why then did they choose this one as a random? And the military guy did hint at it before, and he goes, well, it's because shit could happen, and people with the superior genes could come down with faulty DNA or something that hasn't been discovered yet. You never know. So then they just did a random gene pool selection to broaden the DNA spectrum. So
now I only have one question. Well, I'll have many questions, of course, but one of my questions is, so is the military guy from Unit 731, is that what's going on in the story? Because superior gene pool and
no, you're just informed by this military guy that each group is just assigned a military trained survival expert to help them adjust to their new life in the post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah. It's everyone. You have some genetic advantages that it's there, so they just pick those people. It's this person has she's more strong than a normal human, so they just put her to make military training and things like that. It's not as shady as the Japanese Nazi program of superhumans. Nothing like that.
Well, that's why I asked about Unit 731.
Yeah, no. There's no vampires. There's no
yet.
Yeah.
So
the real big problem with this is, I guess, the shoujo elements of the story. Really, the second half of Volume 2 with a side story out of nowhere with how one of the guys, the Arashi, the main
the boyfriend,
sexy man of the
boyfriend, sexy
the
dude,
main sexy man of the random group. He had a girlfriend, and you discover that his girlfriend actually got selected as well. So she's there, and he's suffering of a broken heart because he thinks she's dead in the apocalypse, and things like that. So and the main girl likes him out of the bat because fuck it. They need to procreate.
Jojo, man.
They need to procreate, so I guess it's fine.
They do.
Damn right. Hickey, I like the way you think. They need to have sex and do the do, so...
Yeah, so I guess...
I'm not sure what would be worse, though. If I was in this situation, then I was heartbroken because I thought my girlfriend was dead, but then later on you find out that she's actually just fucking some other guy. I don't know. What's better?
Yeah.
Girl, you cheated on me? But honey, I swear, I thought there was the apocalypse. Well, okay, that part's true, and I thought you were dead.
Irrelevant.
You cheated on me, you whore.
Yeah. But yeah, what
you know
scares me
coming.
more... Yeah, I know. Of course it's coming. The girl is the fucking super soldier of Unit 731. She will survive. Like there's no other choice. That's gonna happen 100%. And then you have the bully guy becoming docile and trying to fuck the main girl because he's sorry. So now he wants to fuck her. It's shoujo.
I'm sorry, let me have sex.
It is shoujo. That's all that always happens.
Tori, can you say that same line with a Canadian accent? Oh, no fun.
In your face. Anyway, it's shoujo. That's the biggest problem with this. It's the shoujo storyline. The character design, how the characters look, it's fine. It's old, it's dated. But it's shoujo, and you need to deal with that kind of things. The storyline, because you have this post-apocalyptic world where people need to survive and procreate, doesn't really match with the shoujo stereotypes and storytelling.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue. But aside from that, it is quite fun. It can be very gruesome from time to time if people like being being zombified by huge mantis.
Praying mantis rape, man.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. Okay, yeah, I'm glad you liked it, Hickey, and I hope everyone looks forward to the anime coming out on Netflix later this year. It's a 35-volume thing, so I expect it's going to be a 12-episode start. That's my imagination of it. Anyways.
I expect it's going to be bad.
Come on.
It's gone so.
It could be
I
good.
I refuse to believe they can
But
make
it's
good
Netflix
stuff.
as well, Tori, though.
Listen,
That doesn't matter. Gonzo's still making it.
Gonzo hasn't always made the worst stuff. You're overreacting a little bit.
That is
I love how that's the angle
when
you
you
have to
when
go
you
with. They haven't
compete
always
with
made
the
worst.
likings of Gohans and things like that, it's very hard.
Yeah, but
to
they also have
make
NHK
things.
and Full Metal
Okay,
Panic.
I'll give you that one. Gohan's is worse.
Well, you
but,
also
like,
have to remember they for all the things that they didn't do like super well, like they did like things that were popular like Hellsing. They also did things that were very interesting like Samurai 7, Gankutsuo. They did Anohana. Like, so Welcome to the NHK is supposed to be pretty freaking good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good. And
Well,
I
it
mean,
depends.
I mean,
how do you feel like
here's-
killing yourself?
Okay, but see, here's the thing, right? That's all well and good, but then you have this sort of what I like to now dub the madhouse problem of, sure, they were good, but where's Gonzo right now? What are they making right now?
The sumo show.
18 If was interesting.
The sumo.
Conception,
Well, I mean,
Conception was terrible.
I mean, don't talk about conception in front of me. There's too much trauma going on with that magic raccoon.
I mean, come on, Kaze no stigma. First shocking bullet, no, nothing.
Right? Fantastic studio that only makes
Look.
good stuff, yes.
They got
I love
they
Kaze
got
no
the
stigma.
they got the red money of Netflix behind them.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want to do. I
mean-
bet it'll be
Oh, but that's what
average.
scares me.
It'll be
Rosario plus
average to
Vampire
best.
was great. Saki was. Yeah, listen,
No.
listen. Like Blast Rider was. Okay, like. Yeah, they
If you
haven't.
go
All
through
right,
their
let's-
entire life,
Rosario
it's
Vampire.
fine.
Okay,
all right,
We get it.
Look. It has update character designs. It has Netflix money behind it. It's probably in development for a long time because it's gonna be a Netflix exclusive. So it's a bundle release. It's just gonna release everything. So it's probably been on works for 3 years now. So let's just hope it is okay.
Well, it sounds like it has good source material, which I think is like the key, right? Like the only thing recently that they've done, I've heard good things about the sumo show. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things.
Uh-huh.
And other than
Yeah,
that,
that
like
summarized this so much.
Kakurio was, a lot of people liked that as an anime, that were in the market for that, but they also did Space Battleship Tiramisu, which, as much as I like to give it some crap, is pretty fun to watch.
Okay, no, unacceptable.
We can.
I don't know. I don't take people's opinion into account, especially after I learned that there's a subset of people that like handshakers and apostrophe C or whatever the fuck that thing is called that's coming out this season.
Why?
Yep. And now I've realized that people cannot be trusted.
It is actually the name. Why?
People cannot be.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
It sounds like whiz.
I know,
Hi, I'm Tori. I'm on an anime podcast. I don't take other people's opinions
There's a line
into
in the show
account.
like, how your name is pronounced, and he's like, why? Like, well, that summarized the show. All right, moving on.
The only thing that's worse than fucking Gohan's visual vomit is their naming convention. I hate Gohan so much.
Are you telling me you did not fall in love with Neonpire?
No.
That's a good pun. That's a good pun. Sorry.
Let's move on. This is going.
The Lynn Barrows of Aaron, or of Iron, or whatever it was. Vandred, come on.
Anyways, let's move on to the topic of Clamp, as suggested by Andrew from Recovery for Anime Junkie.
Good guy. I like that guy. Hey, Brains, isn't he? Aren't you and him a part of like some community or something that just started up? What's that about?
Aren't you a part of said community?
I think so. I think so. What is this community?
The Anime Radicals Podcasting Network. We decided to try. We all like working together. We all like talking to each other, and so we also decided, well, why don't we podcast together? So we're doing something I think is pretty ambitious, which is on top of our regular shows and the regular content we produce, we're trying to do things, and well, not trying, I think we're pretty successfully doing them so far. Things that are just extra podcast episodes where it's a random selection of hosts from a variety of fantastic anime podcasts. When I kind of came up with the idea, I was like, well, I'm not going to necessarily recommend any podcast I don't listen to. So, we put together some really interesting content in the form of timely reviews. We put it together in the form of The Man, the Myth, the Mecha to explore the works of Tomino. And the episodes are few at the moment, but we're working on creating more. I know I think there's like 2 or 3 that are still getting edited still. I know there's at least 2. There'll be, another Man, the Myth, the Mecha coming soon, going over Gundam 0080. There will be timely review for Alita Battle Angel coming up. So
the movie or the OVA or the manga?
Well, so I've never read the manga, so I'll try to take time to read the manga, but we're mostly going to cover the compare and contrast the OVA and the new movie.
Okay, gotcha.
So, which I know the OVA, from what I remember hearing, is actually kind of far off from even the manga, or what the manga does.
I would say to you, if you're gonna compare with the movie, read the first 2-3 volumes of the manga, because the beginning of the movie, as I saw in the trailers, it takes more from the manga than it takes from the OVA. And then at the middle of the movie, you have more of the OVA stuff, because the OVA makes some villains of the manga and then it goes back to the manga. At least that's how I'm saying it from the reveals and from the all the PVs that were launched, things like that. It will be good to have that first thing, like the first manga volumes.
Yeah, and I'm definitely interested in it, because something that interested James Cameron enough that he kept talking about a project forever to never direct it, even though he promised he would. So I'm intrigued on how like the movie's going to turn out and everything. And actually, after this recording, I'm going to go see the movie in IMAX 3D, because our company just finished building a theater that opened a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And I'm excited to go check that out. Although the VR theaters aren't done yet, but I want to see what those are like when those are done.
So I've already seen the movie. I saw it yesterday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it will take at least more 2 months to the movie to be released here, so I got time.
Okay. It's it reminded me a lot of the OVA, and then because the movie's 2.5 hours long, it got to the rollerball section. And
yeah, I mean,
it was
I still
it's
too much thing.
Yeah, my short thought is I wish that there was a clear defined arc system in it, and much like the OVA, which we discussed in our Battle Angel Alita episode in the past, they integrated it instead of having it separated into arcs. So you have, Alita being discovered, you have Hugo, and Hugo is horrible in the movie. Like, even worse off than anything in the OVA and the manga, which is a real shame. If they I think the movie would have been better without Hugo altogether, unfortunately. So I'll just leave it at that. As an action movie, it was super fun.
All right. I'm going to watch it.
That is the first negative thing I've heard of that movie so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think I bet it would stop at Hugo arc, at the end of Hugo arc. That would be an awesome point to stop. But they kept going for some reason. Anyway, that's not the point here. We're here to talk about Clamp. Let's not go into side tangents, please.
Clamp.
Battle Angel Alita.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But yeah, so Clamp. What is Clamp? Well, Clamp is, or was, an all-female Japanese manga artist group that formed in the mid-1980s. Nanase Okawa acts as the group's spokesperson, producer, director, and storyboarder. System is once Okawa has conceived a story. The 4 members of the group gathered to discuss it. What the fuck is this, Jay?
Okay, so it's a.
You're gonna have to do this one.
It's
the biography of Clamp.
So, Nanase Okawa is basically the leader of the group, right? And the idea is Okawa conceives a story, and then her and the 3 other members, so there's 4 of them together, they get together and discuss the purpose of the story that's been conceived and its main characters involved. So Okawa's the head, and the others are the artists for it all. So that's kind of how this group functions. Before they began creating an original work, the group produced doujinshi of Captain Tsubasa and yaoi doujinshi of Saint Seiya. So I thought, Hickey, you would absolutely love that little piece.
Captain, hold on. I thought Saint Seiya was already in yaoi. That's
no,
okay.
No.
Oh, please, let's be real here.
Listen, Andromeda was androgynous.
Oh, right, like half of the cast.
Yep.
That's okay. It's the 80s. Who cares? Moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was trying to confirm if they did yaoi doujinshi for Captain Tsubasa as well.
Captain Tsubasa,
but it was just regular doujinshi. So.
I wonder if you can still find those doujins.
From the Clamp group?
I mean, give me a 2 weeks. I might find it for you. I don't know if you want it.
I mean, I'll take a look at it.
All right.
I'll observe it for academic purposes.
Captain Tsubasa yaoi doujinshi will stay in my mind for the rest of the day.
No.
Like Oliver Tsubasa and Oliver Kahn after the... Oh, no! Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so just a little bit back, continuing what works they've done. Their debut work title was RG Veda. It's pronounced Rig Veda. Story focuses on old mythology, and this is where Clamp started to be known for its fantastical artwork, and being that it was its debut work title, and they immediately got established for its artwork was a good sign for things to come, and it continued out of the 80s into the 90s with shows with things that were created into anime, such as Magic Knight Rayearth, Angelic Lair, Cardcaptor Sakura, which just got a sequel that's continuing today, and it even went into the early 2000s with shows like Chobits and Triple X Holic.
And Tsubasa.
And
Tsubasa Retrocast Chronicles, and a few collaborations, and doing things that are not Clamp World, but still being relevant with Code Geass and Blood Sea, for example.
Yeah, they did do Blood Sea. They do a lot of they help a lot of other studios out. You mentioned Code Geass. They did a lot of the character art. So the two things they kind of get known for are its unique art style and its background work, and then its lanky character art, which we saw in Code Geass. Long limbs. Very good.
I thought you were gonna talk about how every single word in the works are connected in a universe, a huge universe.
Yes, that is also true.
Yeah,
which is pretty neat when you think about it all. With all their works, they've come up with a singular world and time frame which all of this kind of happens. Chobits and other stories, barring, of course. The one other thing they're known for just in the creation world is its use of negative space. So I'm not an aspiring artist or anything, so I don't know how to really describe that properly. That's just what I was reading a lot up on Clamp and its use of negative space, and it's an interesting read. I recommend people to check that out. What I found interesting was they have 28 works altogether, with only one ever being canceled before finishing, which I thought was really interesting.
And then there's the one they just chose not to finish, like jackasses.
And they currently have 4 that's been halted, and 2 is ongoing today. So a very, very good track record. The other aspect I noticed about Clamp was they don't do a lot of long pieces. So I think Cardcaptor Sakura is their longest running work to date, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe. So
probably.
Yeah. What does Clamp mean to everybody? What do you think of the group itself, especially the all female manga artist group that started in the 80s? Like,
hold on, let me just
tell me what you guys think about Clamp.
Let me go through this real fast. Don't care. Never been a part of my life. Couldn't care less.
I like Blood Sea.
I like Blood Sea because it's the most effective use of their character design. Cut off all their limbs.
You like Blood Sea, the worst blood anime that ever released. Out of the 3.
I like it for the killing. I don't care about the story.
Well then. Yeah, well, I mean, Clamp was very important. I guess everyone who became watching anime in the early 2000s, Clamp was very important, especially because it was on television with Cardcaptor Sakura. And then, you'd go and talk to people like that anime, and people would recommend to you like Angelic Lair and Chobits and Kobato, Triple X Holic. You would watch it at least I watched it without knowing they were part of the same group. It was the same universe, for example. They were spans of the same universe. They were made by the same people, and it was actually like this linked universe. I discovered it in like 2005, 1 year after I started watching anime, because I watched Angelic Lair. No, I read Angelic Lair and then watched Chobits. And I was like, oh, this name Clamp, it's everywhere. Why there's this name everywhere? And I realized, oh, it's a group of mangaka building this universe. it was very important to my insertion into, watching anime. It was before I started destroying all my free time with seasonal things, and I was quite young. So yeah, I you cannot deny how important they were to anime itself, although they are not relevant anymore because, as everything, time passes and things become irrelevant, and that's what happened to Clamp. I think we said that in a previous episode. I said that in a previous episode with Andrew. Yeah.
Brains, how about yourself?
So I've read a couple of Clamp manga early on in like my anime watching career when I was in high school. Our local library in this small town I lived in started getting in some manga, and some of that was a lot of it was Clamp manga, and I didn't read like all of them. I watched Cardcaptor Sakura, of course. And I then had seen the X movie, proceeded to find the X TV series later. I'm not sure when, but I ended up finding that later. But what they had there were manga from Clamp, and they had the X series, they had Tokyo Babylon, which I enjoyed both of them immensely at the time, though I can hardly remember a whole lot about them. It's stuff just, tends to fade over time, especially when you're not like recalling it regularly. But something that is kind of always stuck with me was a short manga series that they did, only 3 volumes. And of course, our library had all 3 volumes, and that was Clamp School Detectives, which is kind of like this interesting. Like, it's interesting, like, there's, like, this detective club at the school. And then when I was in high school, I was like, oh, this is really cool. They're at the Clamp High School or whatever it was, or the Clamp School. And I mean, I've always enjoyed the works that they put out. I still enjoy Cardcaptor Sakura to this day, though I am behind on Clear Card Hens, so there's that.
I still need to go back and clear. I mean, the clear card hand. It's new. It's fresh. It's nothing compared to the original Cardcaptor Sakura, which is good. They always adapted very well to the time. They just people are not interested anymore in things like that. Just a tip: if you watched Cardcaptor Sakura when you were a kid, it was really cool. But don't go watch it now that you are an adult. I got so frustrated, I almost pop a vein and break my television.
You say that, but BCom recently went back and watched all of Cardcaptor Sakura, and he adored it.
Dude, I wanted to just kill Sakura so hard. I will never forget that. She took 2 episodes to realize the card that reflects is the fucking mirror. I just wanted to kill myself, and then, probably kill a few people and then kill myself. I was screaming at the television. I never screamed so hard at my television watching anime. It's the fucking mirror card, you retarded kid.
When you realize how much stuff is dumbed down for kids.
Yeah, but Clear Sakura hand, it's better. It's more grown up, and how Sakura, she behaves, and how she thinks. It's more contemporary to our time than old Clamp stuff. Definitely.
So I double checked. Cardcaptor Sakura is their 3rd longest series. The longest.
The first one is Tsubasa, right?
Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, which is actually 28 volumes. I must have misread that, but here's something interesting. Brains, you mentioned X before, which I have seen as well, and I didn't realize it was this long. It's actually 19 volumes, but it hasn't run since 2003. Social problems in Japan prevent Kadokawa from releasing further chapters. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's about. I just know that they
Which
stopped.
one?
X.
X. I recently watched X 1999, so which is based on that, and it's not good.
The movie
It's not good.
The movie is. It's a thing.
Not good.
It's a thing that exists.
exists.
What about the TV
that's
show?
There was a couple of action scenes in there. I was like, all right, cool, fair enough. And then
The TV series is much better.
yeah, I'm not gonna bother.
The TV series.
I
Gonzo.
was about to say maybe
Yeah, it's probably Gonzo.
Gonzo
or Madhouse. It is 2001. Let me see here. Madhouse. Yep, there you go.
Madhouse did a lot of
Fantastic.
things, right?
If it was the early 2000s, it
Madhouse
was
does
Madhouse.
good stuff. They just don't make
Well, I mean-
sequels.
No, Madhouse did good stuff.
Clamp related. Clamp related. They did a bunch of stuff.
So I have a like a 50-50 with Clamp, because if everything I've seen from him always like interests me up to a point, especially in concepts. That's where they get me a lot of the times. I am a fan of the lanky character art. It's very unique to them. I'm always a fan of uniqueness. I always love the background arts. Even in the new card captor Sakura clear card. Even in parts where I found myself being bored, my eyes would always be visually distracted by everything else that's happening on screen, such as Lee and Sakura just talking about whatever nonsense cards they want to talk about, but they're under a gazebo, and it's just filled with just fantastical art of flowers and everything, and that's always something that stands out to me with Clamp, are doing things like that. Going with whether it's Angelic Lair or X, because I have seen the movie. Again, it's just constant character art, and it always stands out to me. It's very nice. So, I like Clamp. I wish they were still relevant. I kind of wish that they were behind the Seven Seeds project with Netflix, but
Yo, no. That's the only thing Seven Seeds doesn't deserve is Clamp designs, right? Let's just put it clear.
I would have loved to have read that the people from Clamp were behind the character art for Seven Seeds. I think it would match very well, but would it continue today?
I would go with the original design then.
You would rather? Well, I think they're very similar to each other. So
Yeah, okay, all right.
that's what Clamp means to me. Why do you guys think that they stopped becoming relevant? Like, what happened?
They got old.
Time changed.
And a lot of
They
people
got old?
Didn't they got old? A lot of people left, didn't they?
X,
Well,
their
I
most
know-
popular series, stopped being released.
Yeah, I know some people changed it over the time. I guess one died, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
Let me.
They've had a bunch of former members, so
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not relevant anymore. Anime changed, manga changed, the industry changed, and they were
And they
they were
didn't.
already something really rare to see. They had a bunch of mangaka, a bunch of artists together making this universe. It's something you'd see in the 70s, in the 80s with Gonagai and Leiji Matsumoto, but not in the 2000s. You don't see that much. It's preferred, if you see manga, light novel, and anime in the 2000s, you don't see a huge universe with different types of, timelines and things like that. Usually you see what they call a multimedia project. So you have a light novel, the light novel will have a smartphone game, you will have a spin-off manga, and then you get an anime. So, that's more profitable and more interesting than having a bunch of people working in this one universe. And they kind of started late in the late 80s. They still were relevant in the 90s because of the stories. But in the 2000s, you don't see the space for them to grow or to keep, the relevancy they had before. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think like the only real example I can have of anything that's like even close to a like big universe that's still in any way, shape, or form relevant right now is the Raildex universe.
But the Raildex universe already comes with the multimedia project kind of mentality in it.
Well, yes, of course. But it's like, the Raildex universe is just a whole bunch of like spin-off light novels and whatnot, following different characters, doing different things at the exact same time in the exact same universe.
So when I was researching just Clamp in general, what always kept coming up was their themes. And a couple things came to mind why it stopped being relevant. Is their themes are always focused on the idea of soulmates in all of their shows, as well as never having love as a central theme, which I think turns a lot of people off because they expect a love story when it's kind of presented in front of you, but it's actually everything else that's going on that's more important. I don't think that works in today's anime communities. And the other thing is their themes are always very controversial from a cultural perspective in Japan. Be it same-sex couples. I read a few things where every time they come up with an idea, a lot of ideas are turned down because it won't fit into society. And I'd have to do more research on why X was canceled and why it's halted because it contrasts with society. But that seems to be a recurring theme within Clamp and their production of putting out more works in today's society. Do you guys have anything else to add or say?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a shame, but they were relevant to anime. They were relevant to, at least here in Brazil, the Brazilian fandom. They were quite relevant. They are still relevant, but time moves on, and unfortunately, they're a kind of thing that don't have space in modern anime anymore, which is a shame.
I will say this,
although they might come back. There's a lot of old things coming back now.
It's possible, but I don't think it will come back in that capacity.
But
the thing that I think is interesting that I think is weird, it's kind of like what JD says, the whole like, oh, there's romance in it, but it's not necessarily the main focus, and other things that's not really something that anime fans of today cares about, which I would agree. But it's also kind of funny because if you think about most romance anime and manga, it doesn't go anywhere. It never actually becomes romance. It's just kind of there, and then it eventually ends. So, I don't know. It's weird.
Brains?
I mean, I think that...
The perfect response.
I think at the end of the day, it's just... The industry is very difficult. Their place in the industry was cemented for a long time, but... Mm-hmm. I mean, we even see people that are incredibly popular drop off of it, even when they have popular works going, for a variety of reasons, and that Clamp has made its contribution, and that contribution is certainly shaped like manga and anime in general, but it's just, I think they're at a point now where they're only kind of doing some like that collaborative work, and even if they're even doing any of that anymore, which I'm not entirely sure of.
Okay. So I found an interesting quote here from John Opliger, however you pronounce his name. He says, and I'm just going to loosely say the quote because there's a lot here to go through, but he goes, Clamp possesses a distinct style that perfectly meshes conventional attributes of shonen and shoujo manga. However, All these factors result in a cult following devoted to anything and everything the group publishes, rather than hitting on. So I guess he's saying it rather than hitting on like what makes things popular and hitting the masses. They get too much into a cult following, and perhaps that's why they've fallen out. It's also possible that they're too progressive for the society and cultural narratives that Japan has, especially post 2003. Hence why X was halted for its controversial themes and narratives it wanted to tell. What's interesting is, and this was from Helen McCarthy in 500 Essential Anime Movies, stated that are among the most successful manga and anime with Western fans in particular due to its narratives and themes it's hitting, which is unconventional to most anime and manga out there. So there you go.
All right. Also, I found why X is still halted. During the serialization, there was a bunch of natural incidents in Japan with earthquakes and things like that. And since X talks about, the end of humanity, and basically Japan being destroyed, and the characters dying in gruesome ways, after the earthquakes, people find difficult to read X because, they see the earthquakes in X and Tokyo being destroyed and people getting decapitated to see if they can stop the things. And, it was a difficult time already with the cults in Japan, and, having that kind of stories being read wasn't really good. So they decided to just stop releasing it.
That's way back in 2003.
Please, just stop it for a little bit and intercept it with a little bit of a nice boat. That'll make everything okay.
Well, Tokyo Godfathers did come out, so... Or no, I'm sorry. Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. Jesus Christ, I'm sick.
Tokyo Godfather. Oh, yes, the
highly controversial, not earthquake movie.
Well, I was going to say...
the highly controversial movie about homeless people.
It was controversial.
Sure. Come on, you need to remember, they were cool about the earthquakes, I guess, when Tokyo Magnitude 8.0 come out. But you need to remember the first season of My Hero Academia when the Japanese reporter got decapitated by ISIS, and they had to, postpone a My Hero Academia episode because one of the kids threatened a professor, a teacher, with a knife. No, it wasn't My Hero Academia. It was Assassination Classroom. Because the kid said he would decapitate someone with a knife, and they have to, halt, stop because of the incident. So that kind of thing happens in Japan, and I guess it should happen. People were getting unquiet because of the earthquakes, and X wasn't really helping a lot, so they decided to stop it. I don't know why. It didn't came back. I guess it's not relevant anymore. So the publisher is just waiting the moment you turn off the
at this point they might as well just finish it.
They keep X alive.
I think they should just grow some balls, finish it, because Japan is in a freaking tectonic disaster zone to begin with. So earthquakes aren't going to stop.
I mean, yeah, but I kind of agree with Hick. I kind of almost think it's like, at this point, it's kind of just like, hey, let's just slowly fizzle this thing out, because, I mean, again, we've seen other things that do similar things that comes out later, and that's fine. So I just think it's kind of the company that's just saying, like, let's just kind of put the lid on this one and wait until it's no longer relevant.
It lost the window of opportunity to come back, and I don't believe it'll come back. But maybe we can get a new Clump anime adaptation in the future. Since a bunch of old stuff is just getting remakes and things like that.
Remake and remaster X. There we go. You heard it here first. That's after all this discussion. That's what we want.
As long as we don't get a Clamp universe.
Okay.
Well, just remake Clamp in the Wonderland. That one is a good one.
Alrighty. Alright, Tori. Take us into Space Cobra.
Alright then. So, we finally reached that
Yay!
point where we're gonna review Space Adventure Cobra, which was produced by Studio TMS Entertainment and directed by someone we've talked about on this show a few times now. Osamu
He's back again.
He is back again, and you know, around that time, the 80s, whatnot, 70s, 80s, there's a lot of Dasaki, so don't be surprised if he's back again. He is, you know, among other things, he's directed Ashton Joe, Aim for the Ace, Treasure Island, Space Adventure Cobra, what else?
We'll probably cover a bunch of others.
Rosa Versailles. That One Clan Ad movie that no one likes. Yeah, he's done a lot. And Space Adventure Cobra is a TV series that was released in fall of 1982. And a summary from Anime Planet is, Cobra is a futuristic ladies' man with a gun for an arm. That's... Sure, gun,
oh, yeah.
Yes. Gun for an arm and selective memories of his past. His inherited weapon, the Psycho Gun, is an unusual tool which responds to his very thoughts. Due to his strength and choice of weaponry, Cobra lives his life as a pirate whose main goal is to elude a nefarious bunch of evildoers, known only as the Guild. Follow his space adventures as he lives on the run from both sides of the law.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Although, you know, it would be more appropriate to call that thing on his arm a cannon more so than a gun, but yeah, sure.
Tori, are you suggesting the Psycho Gun is not one of the coolest things in anime ever?
No.
It sounded like you were suggesting that.
I just wish they wouldn't call it a gun. It makes it sound way smaller than it actually is.
Well, why couldn't they call it the Psycho Laser?
I mean, a rifle is a gun.
It is.
Yeah, a gun from the cannon is just basically on the caliber. But regardless, I would also call this .77 Maganin hand cannon more of a cannon than the Psycho Gun.
Guys, I fucking love this show.
I do
of
too.
course you like it.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And when I say fucking love this show, I mean I fucking love this show. Is that not clear? Am I making this clear? Brains, do you love this show?
I fucking love this show.
He's on board. I like this guy. This is why he's here.
like this show is everything wrong with like toxic masculinity and
please.
Things like
What's
that.
What's wrong with it? He's just a man who wants to smoke a cigar and kill bad guys and fuck women.
No.
I don't see the problem.
I think there is no problem with his lifestyle because I have had similar life choices, and but you know,
did you shoot a Psycho Gun?
I did not shoot a Psycho Gun. I've shot a 155 millimeter howitzer though, so there's that. I think it's a howitzer is what it's called. I've shot an artillery cannon.
It's a howitzer. Well, I mean, it's an anti-tank gun, or was it an artillery piece?
It was an artillery piece.
Yeah, so it's a howitzer. Okay.
So, yeah, you know, I've done fun things in my life like that. You know, I just love this show because it's like if James Bond had a set of balls and was a little more
if James
American
Bond has a Psycho Gun.
And also, if he was a little more American, like I hardcore feel like this is like James Bond if he wasn't so fucking classy, like he's just a little less
you know
classy.
What reminded me? I won't remember the name, but the character, the crocodile something.
What the?
He comes to the US, the Australian guy, and I know the
Crocodile
scene
Dundee.
Yeah, that someone's gonna rob him
okay.
with a little knife, and like, that's a knife, that's not a knife, and he fucking pulls a machete, that's a knife. Like,
he's like, no,
this is Cobra without a Psycho Gun.
That line goes.
There's even a scene in the end where he's using the same hat.
that scene goes, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah, that movie.
Forgive my terrible Australian accent.
That is great. Oh, I fucking love this anime. Well, aside from a few,
He has a
bits here and
cigar that he could turn
there,
into a
I
grenade.
know, I know. The cigar is the best gadget that you could ever existed.
It's like imagine like a fucked on just a bunch of the like loop-on gadgets, except they're all in his fucking cigar.
Yeah.
Here, you can breathe with this. It's called an oxygar.
Cigar. Yeah,
He just hands the hot female under the water. Here, you can don't mind the fact that they're talking clear as day underwater.
Fine. Something, psycho waves, yada yada. Whatever.
It allows him to breathe underwater. I mean, it's perfect. And he also gets his nick fix while he's doing it.
I mean, there's nothing better, is there?
And the amount of naked women in this anime. Holy fuck.
They're not naked most of the time. They are just it's very professional clothing.
I'm trying to think of one female character in this anime that I did not
First
see
of all,
naked.
I believe this anime has the most sexy bunny girl outfit of all
my
the
God.
universe.
Oh man.
Let's start
No,
with that.
I love
and then
I love that thing, the fucking typical like, oh, I just saved this girl, and then she's in his room, and literally the first thing's like, I'm gonna go and take a shower. I'm like, yeah, of course you are.
Brown.
well, they reused her design so many times during the
Oh my God.
Yeah, they sure did.
They were like, just change
I
the
was
hair
okay with
color.
it
It'll
every
be
time.
alright.
I was confused, like, is that an agent? Or just a random woman in the universe? And most of the time,
Don't worry,
it's
Hickey.
just a random
Hickey.
woman.
Hickey, they're twins.
They're
They're not twins, they're triplets.
I mean, three of them were.
Triplets. I was going to say, they were triplets.
Triplets.
All right, so
And he didn't get to lay his pipe to all of them, unfortunately.
oh
And this one.
yeah, well yeah. Well, I'm sure off screen he boned them all.
That's what I believe in my heart of hearts.
There's a certain movie that exists that is also the retelling of this, but that, like, the fun thing is, like, there's, you have this TV series, which is, like, the quote-unquote serious adaptation of Space Cobra, and then you have the movie that kind of recaps everything, and that is where Dasaki was allowed to just go nuts with his visuals, and it is a trippy experience that is still very fun, and then eventually the story changes. It's still kind of the same story, but it's
Did the super heroine in the show go to the movie as well? I'm sorry, the space super heroine.
The laser super heroine.
I love, like, when I watched the movie, it says, you remember Aim for the Ace, for example, you had some of those, like, weird experimental shots of, like, trying to do, like, the 3D camera angle, but since they were obviously only limited to 2D, it looks kind of funky. And in the movie, you have a whole lot of that. You have, like, the fucking split screen thing with, like, weird rendered shapes and stuff, and complete just, like, psychedelic imagery. And oh god, I love that movie.
So what is Space Cobra?
Oh my god.
What is this show about? Well, it's about this dude who's there's two things in the universe you need to know. One, there's the Pirate Guild. They're the big baddies. They basically control the universe, and then there's the police,
Space Patrol.
the Space Patrol,
The Space Patrol.
whom you
I
could
love
guess
his name.
patrol space.
So generic. So
Oh,
generic.
come on.
love
It's sketchy. It's sketchy. Oh no, here comes the Space Patrol and things like that. See, it's quite
It's
catchy.
straight to the point. I love it.
And it's comprised by basically a bunch of hot chicks.
That's my fetish.
Well, the universe
Well, but,
is
like,
comprised of mostly hot chicks.
Yeah, 90% of the Space Cobra universe is comprised of hot chicks.
We need to invade this place full of hot chicks. Yes.
So,
He goes on to murder everyone.
I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. I've only heard the stories behind, like, Space Cobra being ridiculous. Oh, he's a manly man, and he just likes to, drink kill people and have sex with women. Well, in a lot of ways, yeah, got that. To add to it, we actually got, and yes, I am going to compare it because I do love what both shows did, and that's the hint of an overarching story. In this case, it's with the 3 butterfly tattoo triplets. So that you have a connection between those characters in Cobra and learning more about the universe in general. And then you have a lot of episodic elements to it as well. So it really gets a break from it all. And the show that immediately comes to mind that did it very well was Cowboy Bebop. And that's the feeling I got with Space Adventure Cobra. It never overstayed its welcome. Anytime you didn't like anything, and I can't imagine you would not liking anything in the show, it's fucking awesome. I was taken aback. I was expecting like a C grade thing, and I got an amazing kind of 80s B+ experience, which was really fun. Anybody else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really enjoyed kind of the story overall, because half of it is based on another story, and another half is just an S-pull from the original story. So let's just start with the anime. Cobra is not Cobra. Cobra is Johnson, and he's a worker. One day, he's fed up with his life, and he decided to go to this fabric of dreams. He just pays to have a dream implanted into him. And he goes there, and he dreams about being this space pirate Cobra, who sailed the 7 universes, things, space.
Sails the 7 galaxies.
Yeah, sailed the 7 galaxies, just robbing everything. And then he got with a conflict with the guild, and escaped and things. And then he discovered that it wasn't a dream. It was his actual life, his prior life, and now he's back at being Cobra. When you hear like that, it reminds you of a movie, a 1990s movie. And he got a remake in 2012, which is Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
Where you have the guy going, he feels like going to Mars, and he goes get like this implanted dream of traveling to Mars, and happens he was the secret agent from Earth that was, acting on Mars. Both the stories, they are based in the same story from Philip K. Dick, which is very prominent in anime. He's the guy behind Do Android's Dream of Electric Ship that, spawned Blade Runner. Total Recall, Paycheck, Minority Report, and a lot of the other things.
Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah, it's great. He's just great. If you have the opportunity to read his works, especially Do Android's Dream of Electric Ship, which is my favorite, go in and read it. It's very interesting. And the story that they are based on was released in 1966, called We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, which is basically a guy fed up
Sounds like a light novel.
Yeah. Basically, he wants to travel to Mars, but he doesn't have the money. So he has a dream implanted to him, just like Cobra, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he remembers that he's a secret agent that worked in Mars, killed a politician in Mars, and then went to Earth and erased his own memories. There's a few differences in this original story. He has a thing in his head, like a little machine in his head that gives him kind of psychic powers, and he can like communicate with people with his mind. There goes in Cobra, you have like all those psychic abilities. It comes from that. And basically the story doesn't have a lot of action. He basically thinks the machine was broke and he wasn't a special agent. It was just the company's fault. Actually, he was a secret agent, and at the end, he everything is resolved, and then he thinks, I had another dream about these little green aliens that came to me when I was a young kid and talked to me. And then he has this implanted into him, but actually that is also a real memory. He actually encountered aliens when he was young, and the aliens gave him this awesome gun that he used to kill the politician in Mars, which I believe in Cobra was translated to the Psycho gun. Because no one has this gun on the universe, and it works with psychic power, and it's just the most OP thing to ever exist.
It works on everyone except for one man.
Crystal Boy.
Crystal Boy.
Can we talk about the villains of this show?
Oh my god. The most James Bondiest James Bonding villains that ever James Bonded with their names.
Salamander, Crystal Boy.
Crystal Boy's
I love Crystal
Fisherman.
Boy. Fisherman. Yeah, that's right. I loved Crystal Boy.
There's Splint Boy as well.
It was just everybody.
Oh
this
my God.
had as much fun as like Lupin-esque villains. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, most certainly. Well, and also they're just, everything about this show is just so freaking absurd, like in all the best ways. Like the cigar is a perfect example of how absurd the show is. Like there are also other absurd scenes. Like what were they called? The snow gorillas or whatever.
Oh,
yes. I love I love that way more in the movie though, just because. I mean, again, the whole with Crystal Boy and the
Plant Man,
no gorillas and whatnot. That's the entire story of the movie. That is all. So they go really into that and whatnot, and it's just there's this scene where it's just like when they're getting attacked by Crystal Boy and their guys, and they're just like all fucking trying to escape on this like jet powered scooter, trying to get to the city to get asylum, and they're fucking. Everyone's just getting hardcore murdered on the way. And then eventually, as they're just about to cross, they're getting betrayed, as it turns out that actually everyone's in the pocket of Crystal Boy this entire time, as he stands up and then fucking proceeds to murder the rest of the group.
Oh my god.
Like the badass he is. Watch the movie, it's so good.
But like, it's...
Crystal Boy, he's...
I don't know, it was just so, like... They had like a ski chase scene. Like this show, like there are some very, very misogynistic moments in this show. All right, like women are not necessarily treated the best.
It talks a lot about equality. Cobra kills everyone, no matter who it is, no matter the gender.
How about we talk about like how individual personalities between the various women did not exist or rarely
no, of
existed.
course. I mean,
and wait, actually, am I misremembering? But wasn't Crystal Boy? Wasn't his name Crystal Bowie? Like,
Crystal Bowie. I see both. Some people say Crystal Bowie. Sometimes. The version I said kept calling him Crystal Boy.
Yeah,
okay.
Mine as well. It was Crystal Boy. I was like, oh.
Well,
damn.
And I reviewed this like a while back. Like, Right Stuff sent us review copies of it, and this show is like the greatest thing I have ever observed in anime. It's not the singular greatest thing. There are actually quite a few great things I've observed in anime that have existed, and I'm like, I'm just glad it exists. But like this show, I shouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did with how, I don't want to say simple the story is. Like, the story's not like a masterpiece, but it's, but god damn.
You take that back.
But not everything needs to be a masterpiece. See, this is what I appreciate about Cobra, and this is what I say. We see it so many times. Anime come out. They have this completely ridiculous premise that sounds like it's going to be just all kinds of messed up, but you sit there with your hope that maybe it could be entertaining in the end. And then they go into it, and then you realize that they're holding themselves back, that, like, they don't really want to embrace the craziness of it all that much. They try to hold back a little bit, and it does nothing but hurt the show. Not Space Cobra. It's just leaning into its own level of crazy.
Well,
just like, yep, here we go.
I thought of a perfect show to kind of like correlate it to. I mean, it's like a later show. It's different kind of content. It's a different kind of thing. But there's an anime that was made called Shimaneta. And
oh my
yes.
God damn,
yeah.
do I love that anime.
Yeah, I mean, Shimoneta is a special. They fucking teach you to make a fucking cock sleeve, a homemade cock sleeve in one of the endings. Like,
And
that
homemade
kind of
dildos.
thing. It is amazing. Really
Like I said,
amazing.
Like I said, when you're going to make a crazy anime, you need to lean into it. Don't
Yeah,
hold back.
you need to embrace it with all it might.
The
But
fucking the cookies, the fucking cookies in that. Like, it did absurd shit. And like, there are some shows that are just absurd, right? Like Tenga Tempa Gurren Lagann. It works because it's absurd, and they lean into that absurdity instead of the rousing motivational speech. Kamina simply says, "Believe in the me that believes in you," and it's like, that's so dumb. It shouldn't work, but it's also something I say to some of my coworkers sometimes, and it works on them because it's just absurd.
with your hand pointing to the sky.
Oh my god! Yes, exactly. And
Yes.
and,
All right, I did that in high school as well. I love that. We're just being dumb right now. Can we go back before I have more of my failed memories of high school back?
And like, for a long time, I never watched Kill la Kill, right? And a lot of people were like, "Kill la Kill's amazing," blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it can't be that good. It looks like dog shit. So I started watching it, and I absolutely adored it. Because again,
It looks like dog shit, but it's cool.
well, and
It goes. It just goes.
yeah, and
Listen,
and
Just
like,
goes.
it has the greatest
Purple
recap
net
episode
light.
I've ever seen, which is like, they start the recap episode, they're like 4 minutes in, they're like, that's it! They just speed through everything. I'm like, that's what I needed.
Yep.
And that's kind of what Cobra does. Like, Cobra just leans into this absurd nature that it has, right? It knows its villains are weird and odd. It knows that that these sisters are, it's just a weird, dumb plot. And they treat it like such a dumb plot that they get you into a fucking pyramid on a desert planet hunting for gold.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
it never takes itself seriously. And this is a little bit of a problem with some of the scenes. Like with the sword people, right? Cobra
God.
just goes to the city and everyone is dead. And it's like, holy shit, everyone is dead. Everyone got sliced. Oh, they got water. I'm gonna take a bath. Like, hold on. There's a bunch of bodies right there. It's just like,
Well,
Wait a
okay,
minute,
so
fuck
he
it.
has, yeah, he has
just
arm.
fuck it. And
he has
that
armoroid
hurts
lady.
the show a little bit. There's also a few dumb decisions, especially I think it was like Dominic dies to save her sister, the bounty hunter, and she's like, "I'm revived. I'm gonna try and kill Crystal Boy," and just dies immediately. I was like, "All right."
Oh my god, she
Okay.
died.
Oh,
like,
wait. Just jog my memory. They didn't, apart from the sisters kind of dying out, right? They didn't do anything particular with the sisters.
I mean,
Other than
the
that,
sisters were pretty cookie cutter. Like,
no, I know. I'm just because
Except
I'm just the thing.
the
You gotta
one with
remember.
the brown hair.
I also have the movie in my head right now, so I'm just thinking like, when they also die. Obviously, they also die out in that, but it's kind of funny because you have their triplets, and obviously they're like one of a kind, so they have their fucking whole like collective consciousness fucking in them. So when somebody dies, that they were absorbed by the other sisters, and they all exist in this fucking different planet.
yeah.
Psychedelic imagery
fuck
and
did
drugs
you
and
smoke when you?
No, that kind of happens in the show too. By
That
the way,
happens. Yes, that happens. Of course, it happens because oh my god, this show is so dumb.
love it.
When it was Jean and the other one, like
come
she
on, come
dies
on.
and She's like, I'm dying, so I'm gonna donate the rest of my life force to my sister. And then she goes immediately dies to Crystal Boy.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Well, what I loved so much about the show was its constant use of one-liners with Cobra. And it was just this weird mixture of bland humor and sarcasm all the time. So
the noises, the random noises, you would only see something that compared to it when we got Komiko in Sound Euphonio. Just the noises Cobra does, the ironic and sarcastic noises.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk sometimes.
I think one of my favorite ones that stands out was when he goes up against Crystal Boy, whom he just saw hot bounty hunter chick, as you said, gets her life force saved. Then she just goes out and gets herself murdered. He realizes the psycho gun doesn't work, and then he just pulls out his super revolver that he has. It's just an antique gun, and he just fires a bullet, and he doesn't exactly kill him, but his line is, "Oh, a bullet worked."
Okay. I guess bullet works. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, so you're just sitting there at home going, well, yeah.
That's the whole reason of bullets.
So the whole show is filled with just writing like that, the absurdity of all the women constantly in hot bikinis. Of course, they're all big-titted and all over Cobra and want his dick.
Yep.
No, he's charming. They will never like at the beginning, unless they are a secret agent of some sort. He's just is smooth talking.
Well, yeah.
Or
even at the end,
he kills a king and became the king of the harem, like the Aladdin.
That did happen. That's right. He saves all the women that were kidnapped by this space genie. And he just looks at his hot armoroid, armor android that he's got, and she's just like, "What are you gonna do, Cobra?"
Armoroid lady.
Yeah, armoroid lady.
Like, well, we could keep going on with our adventure, but all those chicks.
All these chicks need to have my penis right now, so.
Like,
man.
Relatable. Relatable. Quite
the only thing that makes me kind of sad, and that is that you reminded me, and that is the voice actor for Cobra. He's different in the movie. So sadly, you'll get a lot less one-liners and a lot more high-pitched voice.
Oh
Oh no.
Yeah, that is the kind of like, there's something when you have a guy trying to charm these ladies, and he sounds like this. It's like,
Well, I always like the introduction of Cobra to any chick in this show, because he does kind of swoon her like a James Bond character would. That's why Brain said this is the most James Bond ever James Bond.
Oh yeah.
Even at the end, all the way, they kept it from start to finish. He's in a casino, and the girl's playing this this game where you just shoot. It's like a mini shoot the bad guy game, but it's 3 against 1. He just casually puts his hand over hers, and he goes, "Triple the odds." She goes, "Okay."
Okay. Sure, I never saw you, but okay.
I don't know who you are, but all right, your hand's on mine.
Money.
We're touching skin. Okay. And he helps her, and she's like, "Oh my god, $4,000! Let's go make out in the evil organization's top floor, because no one was going to find us there." You got it, Cobra.
It's just like... Oh my god. Okay, I struggle to say bad things about this, right? Like, the animation's like a little bit dated, right? Like, there's some problematic treatment of women.
What's problematic about it?
The OST doesn't have a lot of variety as well.
That's
true. It looks like most of the time it's just one music playing in the background.
And
the OP is a banger.
Oh, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's city pop. It's 80s city pop.
It sure is, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it's the best of Japanese music.
Brains, I could say a couple things. I could say a couple things negative about the show. Not enough 80s montage music.
Ooh, not enough,
not enough.
aerobic scenes.
Yeah, not enough
Fair-
epic
fair
80s
enough.
montage scenes. I can only think of a couple out of the 31 episodes. Odd number, by the way, for how many?
Yeah, sure. See, I would agree with that problem. There's just one problem for me. I also watched Cat's Eye around this time, and that sorted that problem out real quick. It got very tiresome very fast, so the less aerobic scenes I see, the better.
And I wish they did more with Armoroid Lady, actually.
So, I mean, like,
He's kinda just
there
there.
are additional OVAs, and
Oh,
I
I
think
have
there are
those.
additional
Sure.
series.
You can find those on High Dive, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. And if you don't want to just have 50 million subscriptions, you could get Verve. If you live in the United States only,
Yeah, there you go.
sadly.
Yeah.
But like, no. Like I haven't seen the newer versions of Space Adventure Cobra. I think I might have seen one of them a little while back, like when it came out, kind of thing. But I remember so very little about it. But I think this is like what we need back in the anime community. Not necessarily all the misogyny, but just the absurdity. Like, I need more absurd shows like this. I need shows that I can enjoy just because they're ridiculous. And not because it's like Kirito with his 90th fucking power-up move or whatever. Like, I need this. I need, like, and you know, I have an important question though for when it comes to Space Adventure Cobra and old anime in general. Who's the better space pirate, Captain Harlock or Cobra?
Oh, so we haven't covered Captain Harlock yet on this podcast.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I haven't seen
I
it
have.
yet.
Yeah.
And I'm torn because they're so similar in a lot of ways, and yet different at the same time. They're similar in the ways that they're both pirates. They do what they want when they want. They can get any girl they want. The difference is in their character demeanor, and they also drink wine with their hot female assistant. So
Probably blonde
That's
as
very
well.
important.
But like, I mean, so far I've watched Cobra, and Cobra says a bunch of things you can take for your life. Aside the misogynistic stuff, if you don't want to, if you want to, it's your choice. But like he said, like, I don't take orders of no one. I do my thing. I like being free, and that's my life. That's what I like doing. One thing I promised to myself was not obey anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he got to the pirate life to begin with,
pirate
and you
life's
know
for-
that's an
pi-
important
pirate
thing
life for
to
me.
take for your life. Don't go around obeying everyone. Don't go around blindly following everyone. Try to be happy the way you are, and that's basically what Cobra is. He even say in the beginning, after he recovers his memories, like, when you have a peaceful life, everything you want is an adventure. When everything you have an adventure, well, it's good to, you know, laid back and have a relaxing moment for time, but peace is never forever, something like that. And it's very interesting. He's a very interesting character. I really like him. Even if he's a dumb.
Oh my god, but he looked so badass before he got plastic surgery.
he was a very handsome man.
I mean,
before.
he looked badass. I thought, like, my thing is when he was the Cobra, right, with the long hair and the square nose, I was like, he looks cool, and he was probably very cool as well. But you know, after 5 years, his new personality and the old personality kind of blend in. They mixed, and now you have that personality we see. But when you see the flashbacks, he was just a goofy ball as well. I was like, oh,
I just want to be a harem king.
Oh, man. You know what? Kind of weird, but I almost just wish we got, like, nothing long, maybe like a one episode over here or something, about the life of your average salaryman Johnson. Just to see the contrast.
just to see what he
I
did.
want the proper contrast.
You're just like a joke anime.
Yep. A joke anime about this fucking regular dude who's just bowing his head to everyone.
Well, I mean, it will be City Hunter without the guns, I guess.
Yeah.
City Hunter without the molesting.
So yeah, you're absolutely right, Tori. So one of my favorite episode arcs was when Dominique hires him to sneak into the rug ball league.
Oh my god!
Which is, by definition, baseball mixed with rugby rules.
And a lot more kills.
So the rule is
Holy
you can take someone out as long as you have the ball. So the first baseman, so say that you're the batter and you hit the ball to the shortstop or whatever. Normally in baseball, you would simply throw it to first base and the guy's out. But no, in rug ball rules, you don't just simply touch the base. You have to, like, fucking take them the fuck out. And the runner can do vice versa to get by and be safe. And it is legal to kill a guy in the game.
Oh my god.
Oh, great episode. With one of the best technologies to ever be created, the laser shower.
You're absolutely right.
Can I use your laser showers? Like, excuse me, a laser shower?
It was the electric laser shower.
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like the sonic shower from Star Trek, right? Like,
yeah, it's a
least that
laser
makes a little
shower.
more sense.
You take two showers and evolve every single type of cancer to ever exist.
You don't need cancer.
So I guess
this is the future. There's no cancer.
So I looked at the guy who directed this, and I guess he also directed the Golgo 13 Queen Bee OVA.
Desicky did everything.
Daisuke, he is like the biggest thing, like one of the biggest things to happen to anime in the 70s and 80s. Like, it is fucking... He was involved with basically everything.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Even the original Dororo back in
1969.
Jesus.
Fucking, like...
He was part of
He was an episode.
Tezuka Pro? Was he an animator in Tezuka Pro?
He is an animator. He is a director. He is, like, literally, he is also the one, like I said, I've talked about him before, but he is the one who was responsible for stopping going away from treating animation from, like, 2D characters drawn on a piece of paper to basically going the, like, movie route. Almost like he was a big fan of, like, European films and whatnot, and he really wanted that, like, he wanted the film experience. He wanted it to feel like, when you watched an anime, he wanted it to feel like you were watching something that was being filmed rather than something drawn on a piece of paper. Which is why he had a lot of these, like, really weird, like, techniques, like the 360 spin that just looks very weird when you have to draw it all individually instead of just spinning the CG camera.
I guess it would also... I guess it's his fault, the anime production structure with the director, you know, telling everything what to do, and then you have the assistants and things like that. He probably, you know, introducing the ideology between the Western movie production to anime. He probably introduced a lot of the structures, the basic structures we see nowadays with the production team.
Yep.
Oh,
See, he's worked on a lot of Lupin stuff as well. It's funny, right? Because for him, when I look at his stuff, it seems like it's mostly like it's basically he either worked on, like, manly man stuff, or he works on shoujo, which I think is kind of funny.
Okay, so the guy who created Space Adventure Cobra, I feel like I gotta point this out. Like, so the mangaka behind it, Buichi Terasawa, he created Goku Midnight Eye as well.
yes! That is great. That one is a great anime. Holy shit!
And we've also talked
you
about
know,
that one
makes
on the
sense.
podcast.
That makes sense because Goku had the eye and Cobra has the gun, and it's like, what's the purpose? Where did this technology came from? Don't worry about it. Just
So don't worry about
don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. It's important to everything, but it doesn't
it.
matter.
Important to nothing at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
just watch the show,
Goku
asshole.
the Midnight Eye is just Goku the Midnight Eye is just way too great. Cobra is better. But,
Oh my god. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. I was like, oh. So that's why.
Makes you wonder what could have been with Midnight Eye Goku then.
yeah.
Now, you know what? I'm glad that Cobra got more of the attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess he worked as part of Tezuka Productions manga department. So under Osamu Tezuka as well, so that makes all the sense why all these people came together.
Yeah, Tezuka produces Spawn everything.
I guess he also created a manga called Bat and a manga called Gun Dragon Sigma.
Huh.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Right?
That sounds very Chunibyo.
All I can think about it is the Gun Dragon from fucking what's the thing called? Jesus.
I mean,
Gungeons and Dragons. No, Gungeons and Dragons. That's the fucking DLC. Gungeon.
I'm looking at like the cover art and it looks pretty cool. I gotta translate this from whatever.
I mean, everything with an 80s kind of cover art looks really cool.
That's true.
Like you see the cover of Midnight Goku Eye, you know, he's standing there and you have the motorcycle chick near him. It's like, this is the coolest thing you ever created. I want that to hang in my wall. It looks so cool, but you know, in reality, it is also very cool, but for different reasons.
I miss
80s, the time of badass.
I was gonna say I miss the 80s and like the very early 90s in anime. Like, cause like we just got absurd shit like Mad Bull 34. Like there were so many shows that were just like, and honestly, it's kind of funny, right? JoJo's is so popular now, right? And it's so popular now, but it was based off of that era. That's what it is based off of. It kind of evolves with the decades.
It's basically Hokuto no Ken.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome
it's
show. Awesome show, Hokuto no Ken.
Yeah.
Just exploding people with your bare fists.
I've tried rewatching it. It's not a good
basic.
rewatch. It's a rough rewatch.
It is a little basic, but I just love the manga. I've read the manga. Yeah, no, I've read the manga. The manga is great.
The thing for me with Fist of North, especially the anime, is like the problem I had was like, I mean, it's cool up until that point where it decided that like it wasn't satisfied with just being like silly guy punches guys and they explode after like 3 seconds, and then it's like, let's try to be more serious about this. And I'm like, no, you can't make this serious.
Like, whoa. Calm your tits there, guys. Like, I just need it back to where it was. Like, it was fine.
Yeah.
You didn't need to innovate.
Back to Space Cobra. Was anybody disappointed with how it ended? Like the last few episodes or what have you?
It ended very James Bond like, you know.
I mean,
a bunch of people got killed, and you know, the conclusion is, what in the fuck? Then you know he just flies away. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you don't fly in space, but anyway, he just goes through space with with his chick in his arms, and everyone is happy except the people who got killed.
Well, nobody cares about them; they're dead.
Yeah, I mean, but like, the ending is very cool. It's like it's very A-Team assembling this awesome team, and the vampire guy just got a bunch of innocent people killed because he's a pussy, and then. Going to place, getting a little conflict, joining the team, trying to kill the big bad guy, which is a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
Some reason. Because it's the 80s, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, everything went to shit. A bunch of people died. Cobra is still alive. Armor Lady just got obliterated.
Yeah, she was busy being fixed.
And he goes to fight the main bad guy, and he it's just too convoluted to begin with. And you have some huge naked woman statues floating in space. And
big goddess Shiva
and then
statues.
he writes cogito ergo sum in the computer, and that is actually a password of a whole program that makes the statues kill each other, because this is the nature of everything, that things does exist to kill each other. And then he punch a hole through a wall, and there's a spirit inside of it that is actually Salamander. It is convoluted.
Well,
Way too convoluted. But aside that, the ending scene, I'm fine with that.
Oh, come on! You don't like the idea of an energy being constituted from the dreams of a man that died many years ago? That doesn't get your rocks off. Like, that doesn't get you a little.
We have the psycho gun. I think. Yeah, we have the psycho gun, and I guess I shouldn't worry about it.
Right.
One thing the author taught me is just don't worry. If there's something you don't understand, I will explain later.
Yeah, and
just kidding. I will never explain, but don't worry about it.
And I like the ending because, like you said, it's James Bondian, right? Like, it's he's off to do other things, banging chicks across space, like.
Yeah, I'm happy Dominic was alive and things like that. It was a good conclusion. How it got there with the cold and naked woman in space, it was a little bit convoluted, and I kind of liked the team. It was a short time, but I really enjoyed the team. Not the vampire guy, not the bad guy, the transforming guy and the huge man. They were very cool.
So I really, really liked the Cobra wanting to get revenge for them murdering Dominique, which was really cool. Him assembling his old friends one by one, busting him out of the prison. The list goes on there, all the way up to the German suplex wrestling move. And that's how he distracted Salamander to murder him, which was awesome. So I was like, fantastic. And then you get to the last 2 episodes, and you see all of his friends immediately die because Salamander's not dead. Dominique miraculously comes back to life because coincidentally she looks just like... so they didn't murder her, which was very convoluted. And I did find a reason for it, because that's what was very disappointing. The show was canceled early, so they had to rush the ending. Yeah, you don't say...
everything in the 80s,
like everything.
It was canceled.
Like everything in the 80s. And in the original manga, Dominique doesn't come back. It's a separate woman altogether. So for the TV show, they just said, let's bring her back, and now she's her.
Yeah, it's a happy ending. Let's just give it a happy ending.
But it's Space Cobra. You could have just had him meet the new girl, and he just bangs her.
Yeah, but he developed a kind of a relationship with the bounty hunter. Was it Jean, the bounty hunter? Or Jean was the brunette? It doesn't matter.
They were triplets.
With the bounty hunter, and then Dominic looks exactly like her. The
woman with the big tits.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You're making that really difficult. And you have a little bit of a relationship. Then she starts to use him to do some missions, and they have like that. They bounce each other and they like each other. So at the ending, let's bring her back and give Cobra like this happy ending he might not get in any other case.
Anyways,
Cobra got a lot of happy endings. I don't know what you're talking
about. Fuck off.
Space and time, baby. Oh my god.
I still like the bunny girl chick, by the way. She's just the best. Space Patrol agent.
She was good. I liked her too. Okay. I think I've said my piece. You guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think so.
Yeah, it
Space
is.
Cobra was awesome. Guess that.
Yeah, Space Cobra was awesome.
Excitement.
This discussion was awesome. And
All right, so just real quick before we give our final verdicts, I have community shoutouts. If you want to be a part of the community shoutouts, hit us up on all of the social medias, whether it's Instagram or Twitter at BowlingJD. Use the hashtag RedleafRetrocast. You can find a pinned tweet before we record episodes, and all you have to do is like it. Like these people. EMZT Podcast and Productions, Bumwine Bob, quite like that one. Brooklyn Podcasting Studio, Zeus King Dark, Costa, Graphic Garage, Bored and Annoyed, Ambrotolm, Podcast Movement, Bloody Hammers, PNG Gamer, Mogul Squared, and It's Okay They Are With Us. There you go. So, final scores. Brains, why don't you do the honors and do it first?
Well, I'm gonna stick with the rating I gave the show. So we have like a spreadsheet that one of our listeners curates that kind of keeps track of it, and I'm gonna give it the same rating I gave it then. And I was looking at this rating earlier today. I was like, is it really this? And after about a half hour of pondering on it, I was like, nope, yeah, I can't give it anything less. And so do you guys do it out of 10 or 5? I forget.
Out of 10.
10. I thought you did it out of 10. All right. So I'm going to give Space Adventure Cobra a solid 8 out of 10 robots inside other robots. The show just leaned into the absurdity so much. And I it's not a masterpiece, but it did what it did so well that I can't really fault it. So it's a great show, in my opinion.
Tori.
Sure. Yeah, no, I had a fucking blast watching this show. It was basically exactly it was pretty much exactly what I was hoping for it to be when I got into it. So I am more than happy with what I got. And the final score that I ended up giving it was a 7, mostly because of story reasons.
Yeah.
Hickey.
yeah, the show is a great, strong 7 indeed. It's funny. It does what it does really well. Really well. I was laughing most time, but again, I had a little issues. The music score is non-existent. It's basically one music playing in a loop in the background every time.
You're not wrong.
The female characters, they are all the same. Like I said, you know, there's the bunny girl agent, and she just appears randomly through the story, but it's not her, it's just a look-alike. A lot of people look like Dominic, and it wasn't part of the triplets. You know,
Yeah.
There's a few story issues, there's a lot of dumb decisions, and I cannot get behind dumb decisions, although it's fun to watch, although it makes sense to... It doesn't make a lot of sense to the contest, but some characters, they did a lot of dumb decisions. One of the biggest one is the bounty hunter, you know, basically being revived by his sister so she could live on, and she decides to go and die by Crystal Boy.
Immediately, right?
I mean, before
Immediately.
that,
It's like,
we had a
it's
crystal.
It's probably one of the dumbest decisions I saw someone make in anime. And that is kind of bad for the show, but overall, it's very fun to watch, and I believe that's what anime is about. Being dumb, being fun, having fun watching it, having fun discussing it. And I believe that although watching it by yourself might be fun, watching with your friends like we did here and discussing about it is the best part of it.
Oh, yeah.
You're just gonna laugh non-stop.
And I second everyone to the key. And I'm with Brains with the 8 out of 10 rating. So,
I just remembered something awesome about this show, though, that I can't believe we didn't talk about. The piano computer.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Dude,
Oh.
see, it's too dumb. There's some things that's just too dumb.
But it was the greatest level
it's
of
perfect.
stuff.
It was great. It was great. It's like, oh, there are different colors. There are 3 basic colors,
Hickey.
and I'll just play the symphony and do computing and stuff.
Hickey, you know they don't understand how the fuck a supercomputer works anyway, so they're like, fuck it, make it a piano.
But they are Asian. They understand the piano. They don't. I don't understand the computer. Oh, okay, I see. All right.
They understand the piano. That's like close enough.
Piano has keys or computer has keys. It works, right? That was like one of the greatest things in this show. I remember when he revealed when he walked up there to mess with that thing. I was like, a what? Oh, say that again?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's also the belt photograph.
Oh yeah.
That like he spars with Dominic and just throws her. He waits the sweat, reveals the fucking map, throws her in the air and just snap pictures of her back. I was like, all right, okay, that's fine, that's okay. Just great.
Oh, the show is
just greatness.
All the greatest things.
You can't go on.
Yeah,
You can't.
I mean-
you gotta suspend your disbelief a lot in Cobra. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, but like
No, really?
like Space Cobra shows like Space Cobra, Goku Midnight Eye, Hokuto no Ken, they are best watching with your friends and then discussing the hell out of it. Because it is very fun. Just the talks that spur out of a single moment of the show.
Oh my god. I love that. I just love that so much.
I'm gonna superimpose the tattoos and then bang, galaxy map.
Galaxy map off of a bunch of butterfly tattoos. Karen, you've succeeded with your butterfly tattoo. Like, especially when I found out like there were big butterfly tattoos, I was like, these girls were like, they were in a sorority, weren't they? They were real basic, weren't they?
They made a bad decision one night after Space Tequila.
Or Dad did.
Oh, you guys.
Your dad did.
Oh man, I love that though. Like literally anything whenever that comes in. Even like remember this manga I read fucking not too long ago. Like yeah, Sun Ken Rock is the same thing. Whenever the goddamn giant dragon tattoo was revealed, it's like yes, fuck yeah, I love that. I don't know why. It's just something whenever somebody's just like, well, so I didn't know this, but apparently I have this fucking ginormous tattoo on my back. That only appears when certain conditions are met. Yes.
Yeah. There's also another.
Please.
There's also another scene we forgot to mention about the treasure when they found the treasure with the fireman.
Oh god.
It's the fucking egg from Berserk. I was like, wait a second.
It's the bailiff.
I recognize this egg. Hold on.
It looked just
Oh
like
no,
the
that's the
bailiff.
beginning of Berserk.
I think that's a good
so
place to
stupid.
leave it. Tori, take us out.
Alright. So, you've been listening to the Red Leaf Retrocast talking about Space Cobra as well as a bunch of other things. So, I don't know. I'm just laughing at this point, so if I could say your goodbyes, everyone.
And everyone stay quiet. Please,
Okay?
Brains, please begin with you, making a little advertisement for your podcast and the
yes.
network, please.
Yeah. So I'm Brains. I'm the producer of the Trash Pandas Watch Anime Podcast. And what we do there is we do long form discussion. We do a news section that's regular news from Japan. It may be about anime, it may not be, but it's interesting nonetheless. Then we do weird and wacky news, which a recent highlight was a man who had a relationship with his pet cockroach. And then
Nice.
we do anime discussions for Valentine's Day. In our most recent episode, we decided to start shipping characters. I decided that Piccolo would be
the worst scene to ever exist in a fucking anime fandom.
Yeah, well,
shipping.
Except I was like, Piccolo and Chi-Chi, that should be the actual couple in Dragon Ball Z, not because Goku's a neglectful father. And, and then we do like a review of a show, and that's kind of what we do. We do our impressions for every season in one episode. So you check that out, tpwapodcast.com. You can look it up, Trash Bandits Watch Anime. We are also a part, and I think, and everybody is a part of the Anime Radicals Network. And so the Anime Radicals Network is basically a idea I had pop into my zany head one day of, hey, we talk to each other, we help each other with our podcasts, we bounce ideas off each other, we ask advice from each other about editing and stuff. Why don't we just create a network and then work together, like, formally? And so we did that, and as a result, we have created some kind of crazy episodes that are pretty fun. We got things like Radical Hunters. It'll be me and Kat and whoever else wants to join us at that particular time, going through arcs of Hunter x Hunter 2011 as she's watching them. There's the Timely Reviews, which focus on Tomino's works, and will also focus on works of other mecha directors in the future. There is the Timely Reviews, which are reviews of things that we can't necessarily always get to in our own individual shows, as far as like movies that are releasing and stuff like that. We have debate episodes in which JD refereed a rather heated debate between me and Kat over Black Clover and Fairy Tail.
Oh my god, JD. Please. JD, I know you like Black Clover, but please, don't embarrass our podcast.
I mean, to be fair, he couldn't come winning out of that. It's Black Clover and Fairy Tail.
Yeah, that is true.
And so it's a lot of fun. You can check it out at animeradicals.com. We have a pretty fucking dope mascot that I think you guys will like. If you guys haven't seen it, you go there, you can see the full version of her. We paid a very pretty penny to get that designed, and it was a design by committee. And then on there, you'll find some articles. There's only one article on there now. I actually have to write the finishing of that article, and I have to write another one. But we are going to start putting articles up once we get adjusted into the new semester. And it'll just be a lot of fun, and we hope that you guys will come with us. It even extends so far into YouTube, where we do things. Well, at least I have. I've built Gunpla and time-lapsed them, and put a couple of videos up with that, and I have others I have to edit now that I have a new PC, but...
Yeah, we're related to the party, but we cannot wait to, work to the betterment of this network, because it is a very interesting idea. Well,
yeah,
this has been the episode 43 of Red Leaf Retrocast, and this story is how you close an episode. So see you guys later.
Peace.